Welcome to the neighborhood. We are now streaming live on Facebook. I'm your president of the Northwest Arkansas Board of Realtors, Don McNaughton, and I wanted to introduce our chairman of the Professional Development Committee, Mr. Rigo Gomez. So Rigo has a special guest. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Hope you can join us. I'm glad you're here. I'm very excited and very privileged to introduce our premier speaker today, hopefully to help us navigate the information on the class that she's going to be presenting to us. And that's Debbie Yost. Debbie is a certified instructor and one of the best, from my understanding. And so I don't want to take any of her time, so let's go ahead and turn it right over to Debbie. I'd like to introduce Debbie Yost to you.
Hi, Rigo. Hi, Don. Hi, Cindy. Hi, everybody. We are really excited to come back virtually, though. I was there in January, and you people in Northwest Arkansas are amazing. Amazing. We had a great time when we were there in January, and now we're going to come back virtually. And what a better way to do a CRS class on digital marketing strategies. That's the topic, digital marketing strategies, and we're doing it virtually. We're doing it on Zoom. And, you know, most of us have social media accounts, don't we? We just go on Facebook, we go on Instagram, we go on the myriad of social media platforms, and we just post away. And gosh, these days with what we're facing, more and more of us are spending more time online and more on social media. So the whole purpose of the CRS class, digital marketing strategies, is to decide how we want to present ourselves. What's the purpose of our interaction online? How do we want to present ourselves? Simply as a realtor, or as a community member, or perhaps as a dog lover, or maybe somebody that plants amazing gardens in Northwest Arkansas. So the whole day we're going to spend breaking up into segments, and it's going to be interactive, and we're going to be talking about why we use social media. How widespread is it? Is it something that we can ignore, or is it a part of the fabric of our lives these days? Are our kids enmeshed in it? So we go through some different chapters. One of those is about the power of story. How do we create story? How do we weave that through the posts that we create? What about rants on social media? Is that something we want to do? How do we create the strategy? What are the different types of pages that we might use online? How do we create content? How do we plan so that social media doesn't take over our lives? We're going to talk a little bit about security and risk management and some of the do's and don'ts in relation to the code of ethics and how we can market each other's properties. We're also going to do a segment on video because video is so big. We're actually doing some live work right now, aren't we, Don? And so how do we use video? How do we look decent on camera? Not that we have to get made up and have our hair done and all of that, but how do we come across well on camera? There's just some easy tips and tricks that we can do on social media. How does that sound? Sound like
yeah, I think that sounds great. So for those that aren't familiar with it, this is a CRS class, which will give you how many hours credit does it give you?
8 hours of credit. So there's two paths to getting your CRS designation. And if you have some experience and you've been around for a while, this class is going to give you half of the designation or credits that you need to get your full designation. That's one of the paths for people that have experience and have some transactions. Either way, it's a great class. It's doing social media with a purpose in mind instead of just getting on there and giving us our random thoughts.
Yeah. That will be very helpful to a lot of us. I know you came here, was it in March or was it February you came here? January. That's right. It was January. Gosh, that's about 10 years ago from everything that's happened. But I know we had like 60 people. They loved the class. The comments we got is that they wanted more CRS classes, and what else was it, Rigo? I think they wanted social media classes.
Really, a lot of social media. They were also looking for a tactical approach. A lot of times they hear, well, you need to do LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever, but nobody really ever gets into the, not necessarily how to do it, but how do I select, for example, Debbie, which social media platform I should use? There's like 35 of them.
I know. And if you spend all day long on all of them, you get nothing done. So that's the whole purpose of this day, is to creating a strategy. Who are you? How do you want to portray yourself? Who's your audience? What do they want? And then the different types of platforms. In my book, you go where the most people are, the most people that are going to ideally work with you. So, for example, we have TikTok being a very new and oh gosh, it's one of those things that people are drawn to right now, TikTok about videos. Does that really help you as a realtor? I don't know, because is that where your potential clients are? So we go through all of that exactly, creating the strategy. And, you know, it's great because I can pull so many examples from across the country of things that people are doing well and some not so well. And that's one of the fun things about the video segment, is I'm bringing different examples of videos, and I want to hear from the class. What do you think about this? And it's interesting how some video styles will appeal to certain people and they'll turn others off. So really identifying who your target audience is and what you want to deliver to them is important.
You had mentioned earlier, Debbie, about the idea of a story, because it seems like a lot of realtors will put, I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in this price range. That, I don't know that that compels me to want to work with that agent. What have you found in that regard?
Exactly. You know, we have to look at social media as just a different form of interaction to our potential clients. And you've heard the saying, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So social media is a beautiful platform for introducing yourself to potential clients. And, you know, with all of the media things that are going on right now, we don't know who to believe, do we? We just don't know which story is right. Is this person telling the truth? Is that person telling the truth? So even more so today, we really want to create that personal connection where somebody that sees our marketing online says, that person connects with me. I feel some camaraderie there. It feels like we have similar values. You know, now that I know about them, now I might be interested in looking at their 3-bedroom, 2-bath. But before then, it didn't matter.
When you talk about content ideas, what do you actually mean about content ideas?
You know, if you've been locked in your house for a while, like some people have for a while through this COVID thing, they're spending an inordinate amount of time online. In fact, I think online viewing is up 70% across the country. And so what do you talk about? Do you talk about what you had for lunch? I don't care what you had for lunch, Rigo. So how do we create a strategy? How do we show who we are? What's important to us? How do we create content that's valuable instead of just more dribble? Okay. And then the purpose of, do we have personal pages? Do we have community pages? Do we have real estate pages? You know, if I'm a realtor that posts only about listings, nobody cares. Nobody engages with me. And in our business, relationships are so key, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. There's plenty of websites that post about real estate listings.
Exactly. And now, ideally, social media will connect you with the potential client who wants you to serve as their guide through the transaction. We can all find listings online now, but who can hold your hand and help smooth that procedure and get you through all of the hurdles that are so apparent today? I mean, look at the hurdles that we have now that we weren't facing back in January when I was there. Now we're coordinating mobile notaries in parking lots, aren't we?
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to show properties virtually. How do you get across the smell of a property to somebody that's in Canada looking to buy and they can't come and visit because the borders are closed until July 22nd. You know, how do I come across Rigo as somebody you can trust to present your property in the best way? So creating story, that's what we want to present, who we are. And then also, there are so many resources that are out there of valuable information. one of the things we talk about in this class is to create a schedule, actually create a menu for the month of what's going to be posted. And there's lots of resources online. So you don't have to wake up every morning and say, what would be valuable today for me to post? So we're managing several groups. I know you probably are as well. Don, I know you have the Northwest Arkansas Gardens page, which I've been drooling over quite a bit. What's that done for you?
So we created the Spring Up Together, and that was when our tulips were coming up. COVID had just hit, and it instantly populated with about 700 members, 700 people in the community we could communicate with. Mm-hmm. So that's what you want. You want to be able to communicate with people. And since we can't have events, we're typically an events-based business. All the events that we do, all of a sudden, got to find other ways. And that's what we've been doing. My whole team is excited about the CRS class on social marketing because they all signed up. I know when the day went live to allow people to register, we instantly had like 10 people sign up. I don't know how many that's been. It's been maybe 3 days now that it's live to register. We're going to make sure we put the link to register in this feed. So Cindy, if you can copy and paste that in the comments area so people know how to sign up. Isn't there a limit? Is there 100 people limit to how many Zoom call, or is there a limit on how many you can do?
That's up to you and your Zoom. Well, no, I don't think we do have a limit because we're going to bring that to you through CRS, and I think we have 1,000 person limit there.
Awesome.
So you can get it as big as you want. Another thing that we go through in the class is we're using Zoom right now to broadcast this through Facebook Live. When we weren't really able to show properties, there's another way to do a Zoom virtual tour. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well that day. How do we adjust? That's the whole purpose of this. How do we adjust, and how do we use social media as a tool?
That's awesome. Yeah. Because we are showing houses virtually. I'm sure Rigo, you and your company probably is. In fact, we just closed right when COVID hit, we did a virtual showing, and we just closed that already. And it was the first day they saw the house was the day they came to sign the papers. Mm-hmm. So yeah, any tips you can give on that? That's what I love about CRS is that the instructors like you, Debbie, are connected to people all over the country.
Right.
The top-notch systems and things. You've got a speed dial to a whole bunch of information, and that's why we want to bring you just to share everything you know, because it's a different world all across the country.
It absolutely is. And boy, I can tell you that the CRS instructors and the CRS staff have been working, I would say, like quadruple time as soon as this hit on how do we deliver really great content, how do we update courses and get that out to the people who need it right now. So you're right, CRS group has done really well updating courses and getting them out.
Yeah, I appreciate. Yeah, that's exciting. I appreciate that, and that's what Rigo and the professional development committee have been doing really hard too, is to figure out if we can't have events, educational events in office, then we're going to do them some other ways. And I know you guys have been doing a great job with that, Rigo, and bringing Debbie in.
That's right. Well, I'll be sitting right here. This is my home office. This is where I'll be talking to you from next week. We'll do. It's actually 8 hours, and what we'll do is we'll do about 3.5 hours, take a break for lunch, do another 3.5 hours. And we'll get all the content in through the day for 8 hours of credit in that time period. Just going to short you on lunch and not take long breaks, so we get good content throughout it.
That sounds great. Anything you have, Rigo?
I guess just a real last question would be from the perspective of somebody wanting to attend your class. I'm assuming that, do I need to know a whole lot about social media to get benefit from your class?
This is not a super hands-on how to use LinkedIn, how to use Facebook, how to use Instagram. It's more on the strategy and developing that strategy. Okay, good.
So you could.
The answer to that is no, they don't have to be an expert on social media at all.
So the key to that is that you can learn the strategy and then get your grandson or your son or your daughter or
tactical.
Exactly.
any 10-year-old to help you out.
Exactly. In fact, that's what we do. We have a social media marketing guy that handles all of our marketing for us, but we develop the strategy. We talk about who we're looking for, what's our focus for the month, yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. You don't have to do it all yourself. And if you start getting involved, there's ways to cut this down so you can spend a bit of time in the morning, a bit of time at the end of the day, and not have it take over your life.
Great.
Good.
Awesome. So it's the 26th, which
June
is
26th, next week.
next week, and it is $129, and that gets you into the class. And you'll probably talk during that class a little bit maybe about CRS, how they can be a member of CRS.
I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah.
And I know we have some CRSs in your board, your association already. I know you've been a CRS for a long time. Your mom has. What do you get out of it?
Tons of connections with again with realtors all over the country, and the information is that the market's always changing. It always has been. So it's the education that is available to us, and there's always a your social media class today is not the same social media class it was probably 5 or 10 years ago. So it's completely different. So if you want to be in on the cutting edge of everything that's always happening, you want to be a CRS. I mean, that's what I've always taken.
And this CRS has a very active Facebook page, as a matter of fact, called We Are CRS. And you don't have to have your designation to belong to that page, just as long as you're part of the council and working on it. And gosh, I see every day tons of referrals being placed that way. And when you have a referral placed by a CRS, you know it's a great referral.
Absolutely.
There's monetary value as well as the education. Definitely. And you're right. The last time I taught this class was the end of February in Las Vegas to a packed room. And as I told you, when we were scheduling the date, I'm reworking quite a bit of it already just to update what's happened since then.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well,
right.
I'm excited about it. I appreciate you being here and talking with us. I know everyone loved you in January, so they're going to love you again next week. And reach out to us. Let us know if there's anything we do to help you.
Don, just be who you guys are. You are some of the most welcoming realtors I've ever met, and I've met a lot of them. So great groups there. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you
All right.
next week.
All right. Sounds good. See you.
Thank you.